This is the Public Art Advisory Committee, Monday, December 5th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. This meeting is compliant with the Ralph M. Brown Act as amended by California Assembly Bill 361, effective September 16th, 2021, providing for a public health emergency exception to the standard teleconference rules required by the Brown Act. The purpose of this is to provide a safe environment for the public, staff, and the committee while allowing the public public participation. The public may address the committee using exclusively remote public comment options. The committee may take action on any item listed on the agenda. For remote public comments, meeting participants are encouraged to submit public comment in writing in advance of the meeting. Aside from commenting while in the Zoom meeting, the following email line will be monitored during the meeting, and public comments received will be noted for the record during public comment or during an item. You may email aibera@brisbaneca.org. And if you need special assistance to participate in this meeting, please contact me at 415-508-2109. Let's do roll call vote, or excuse me, roll call. Councilmember Cunningham.
Here.
Councilmember Davis.
Here.
Chair Davis.
Here.
Vice Chair Salmon.
Here.
Park and Rec Commissioner Greenlee.
Here.
Park and Rec Commissioner Sewell. Oh, he fell off. One moment. And Beth is joining us as well. Let's give one moment while they connect. All right. So Tom and Beth, we are doing roll call. Park and Rec Commissioner Sewell.
Here.
Committee Member Grossman. You want to unmute Beth, please?
Here.
Great, thank you. Okay, Jeanette, would you like to continue forth, please?
Sure. This time we'll move on to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the agenda.
Okay, second.
I second.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call. Councilmember Cunningham.
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Chair Davis.
Aye.
Vice Chair Salmon.
Aye.
Park and Recreation Commissioner Greenlee.
Aye.
Park and Rec Commissioner Sewell.
Aye.
Committee Member Grossman.
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to approval of the minutes, and at this time we have no minutes to approve. So we will move on to presentations and discussion items. And item A is frame interview questions for prospective consultants in response to the city RFP for a public art installation in the community park.
Yes, so we provided you potential questions that you can ask in the different areas of the RFP that was put out. You can use those as a guideline. You can take them as verbatim or do whatever you want with them. But tonight's idea was just to be able to put together questions, and that way I can let the people who proposed know what you were interested in hearing from them. To let you know that we actually did have one of the people unfortunately had to drop out due to family reasons. And Angel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Eve Rappaport who was it was Nancy.
Yes.
Okay. Nancy had to withdraw due to family reasons. So you will only need to be interviewing Eve at the next meeting. So I will, based on the questions that you want to find out information from, I will let her know so she can tailor her presentation towards that.
Can you remind us if she was the one who did primarily hospital art or?
No, Eve was the one from Southern California. So she was the one who had worked with the cities previously and had been part of a staff member for public art committees previously.
Okay, so at this point, oh, Karen, you have a question? Go ahead.
Actually, not a question, just a comment. I mean, we already know that Beth had concerns that this person had only worked in the healthcare field.
No,
I
different
get
person.
that. That's
This is the other person. This is the one who had worked with the different cities throughout in Southern California.
okay. All right. So the other I think query was trying to find somebody local. So we're not paying, if we chose a person like this, we're not paying these travel fees all the time. So is that part of our questioning, or is that something we should discuss outside of the line of questions?
Well, I think from a committee perspective, your goal is to find somebody who you think is appropriate. It's a professional services contract, so the idea of what the price is not something that you should be basing your decision on. You could base a decision on understanding of the area. So what you might want to do is ask her questions related to her understanding of Brisbane and what it means to work in this area versus working in Southern California. That may be a line of questioning you want to ask. But because it's a professional services contract, your goal is to pick the most qualified person for this out of the people who have responded, and then staff can work with them to figure out what the cost is, and then you can make a decision, and the council can make a decision based on that. If that
Okay.
helps.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that information, Stuart. So I just wanted to pose the question, since we only have one candidate, after putting this out twice with no candidates, does the committee still feel like they want to go forward before we start writing questions with really no options other than one person? So I guess I wanted to pose that, and I'm not trying to open a can of worms, but I think considering we don't have two people to ask, I think that's a fair question to ask. Lisa?
I still think forming questions, even with just one person, I mean, just interviewing one person would be good to know if our questions, how our questions are answered, and if we would hire that person. So I think forming questions, even if we only have one person, is still a good idea. I was wondering, can we share a screen and look at the questions that Stuart's come up with and just kind of discuss them from there?
Well, I think we should wait and see like what the rest of how the rest of the committee feels, maybe.
Okay.
Personally, I think that like I just feel like maybe this is assigned to us. And I think, we kind of hit this like similar dead end when we were doing the skate park mural, where it just felt like things weren't in alignment, and then we decided to like push forward anyway. And to me, like, because we only have one applicant, I feel like we're reaching a similar dead end on this project also. And I think like we decided to push through anyway in the last circumstance, and it just didn't work. And so because there's like not a lot of historical things that we can draw on, and this is like a new committee and we're getting our sea legs, to me, this feels very reminiscent of that. And, I think maybe it's time to kind of pause and reassess this. And we kind of talked about this before, like, I don't know if it's budget, I don't know if it's, the space, if it's that we're not clear on our messaging about what we're looking for. But I think, to me, the right approach is to move forward. And I think I'm kind of in alignment now based on how things are playing out with this process, that the recommendation from Beth and Danette of putting this project on pause and moving forward instead with looking at a public art master plan and letting that inform the rest of the projects in the future by having this foundation, which I don't see us hitting a roadblock on that. And I think that's going to be an immense amount of work for us to undertake anyway. To me, seems like the universe is telling us that that is the path forward. And I don't know that I would feel comfortable coming to council, with us to say, hey, we want to move forward with this applicant, and we've only interviewed one person, and even after several times of us putting this out there, we're still getting that same, we're just still hitting a wall. Tells me that something's not working here.
Thank you. Any other committee members would like to comment on that?
I have a question. And I don't, either way, I'm fine. But I'm wondering, do we feel that the master plan informs the artist on what's happening? Is that what I'm hearing? As opposed to the master plan informing the community of the intentions of what the Public Arts Committee is up to. Does that make sense? So I would definitely love to see more than one artist. And I don't know, I agree. I don't know why we're not getting more. I guess the question is, if we had a master plan, or what would cost, what would be the framework, and what would be the messaging that would have more people interested in work?
Right. So maybe I can put that in perspective. So this isn't asking for an artist. You were looking for a person to help you determine what type of art would go there, what the theme of the art would be, what type of art would, what form of the art would be, and then to try and work through that and then find an artist. If you do a master plan, what you might be able to do is have basically the themes of the art that you would like to see within the city already determined. So what it might be is that you would say, okay, we would like to have a piece of art in this location. The master plan has told us these are the different themes that we would like in this location. These are the different types of art types that you would like throughout the city. And instead of going out and looking for a consultant to help you work through all of that, having the master plan, you might be able to go directly and seek an artist. And the last 2 times that we sought artists, we had about 15 to 20 people applying to be artists. It's just trying to find somebody to, I think is what you talked about in the last meeting, having somebody who's a consultant facilitator to help to work through that with the community. I think that may be more usual for a master plan person to do than for just a one-off type of art project.
I agree with that then. I agree.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need a little clarification on your agreement. Camille, is that agreed to?
Yeah, I think that it would be really good to consider it just moving forward intensely on that master plan. Put our energies there.
Okay, thank you for your clarification, Camille.
You're welcome.
Tom, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Thank you, Danette. Hi, everybody. I don't think it's the right thing to do to only come to council with one person. I think that's not right. And I agree with Madison that let's work on the master plan, but I'm also an advocate on let's get excited about something small. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Karen? Oh, okay. Okay, Lisa, you raised your hand. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I think moving ahead with the master plan is great, and then putting it out to artists where we've had more success attracting people. But how do we do that? are we capable of coming up with our own master plan? Do we just look at what's been done and kind of go from there? How do we organize ourselves to do that?
I mean, what you would do going out for a master plan is you go out and find people who've put together master plans before, let them know you're looking for one. So you read other people's master plans and you were interested in, I think it was Jerry West out of San Diego that was of interest. Barbara Goldstein has done master plans that have been of interest. So we would directly, we would talk to the cities that have done master plans, find out what their budgets were for their master plans, figure that, we would put something in a range in somewhat was what has happened recently for master plans, or take some of the older costs and inflate that for today's dollars and say, here's what, what we would like. You would also look at it and maybe, make a determination on the budget based on that you've got an entire area of the city that you would like to master plan that has a blank slate at this moment versus having a master plan of everything already built out, where a lot of other cities are trying to put art where things are built out. So we would be able to, as staff, Noreen would come back with an estimate as to what master plans might cost. We would put it out there. I don't know if we would want to put out a budget as part of the proposal and just let the people who propose on master plans come back with numbers, and then you would work through and say, here is the person based on the master plans that they've done in the past, based on how they understand our community, based on their proposal. And then we would work with them to figure out what, what would be a reasonable budget for them to have the meetings. Because you as a, Brisbane as a city, we may want to have more community meetings than other cities have done. So, if we want more of those meetings to be in person, that would cost more money, no matter where the person lived to do it. And I think, you might be able to find, people who might be willing to do, not just in California, but have done master plans in other areas of the country. I mean, when we've gone out for proposals and we've opened up into, nationwide, we've had people from many different states propose for Brisbane. So I think we might be able to see the same thing in master plans. We can look at master plans, not only from California, but from outside of California to see what other people, who are the other people who do master planning. And then, do a robust direct mail to those, and maybe open it up for a little bit more than a month to, so we can have maybe a little bit more in-depth conversations with some of them as follow-ups to see if if they're interested, and to see how, what they need, what kind of information they need from us. So, I mean, it'll take a little bit of time to put something together, but we would also bring back previous RFPs from other cities so you can see what the RFPs were. What we brought to you last time was the finished master plan, so you would see what the elements of a master plan were. But what we didn't bring back to you was the RFPs that brought those people into being. So what we would do is, go out and research and find RFPs for public art master plans, bring that back, and so you can go through that and say, yeah, these are the aspects of the RFP that make the most sense for us. Kind of like what we try to do for this one, where we went out, found RFPs for this type of work, and you went through it and said, here's the aspects of it that we want to have included in ours. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see like how much it cost, because a lot of the RFPs that we looked at that we really liked, they were done so long ago. So it would be interesting to know how much Belmont spent, because that's in our area. I think that number is probably the most informative because it's in our area and they did it not too long ago. And we could adjust for inflation much easier than to look at a plan that was done that we really liked 10 years ago and try to figure out that was, somewhere else in the state or somewhere else in the country, than to try to figure out those numbers. I think it's probably easier because I mean, clearly whatever we're guessing with budget is not working. I mean, it's just not working. So
I mean, I don't know if this was so much of a budget issue as it was, there just aren't a lot of people who do these types of one-off types of consulting jobs. Because like, as I said, I sent it to the group in Minnesota, and I can't remember Foresight that Beth had mentioned. I sent it to them. I sent it to Barbara. I sent it to the person who did the master plan for San Diego. I put it out on the California Art Council website. We put it out into the Northern California Public Art group, which also has artists and other, other consultants as part of that group. So, I mean, we made the effort the way that, we would normally make the effort and where we've been successful in the past. I just think the type of work this has a very, very limited number of people who have that capability.
Yeah, if we
Um,
probably just went out for just artists, we probably would have gotten maybe 10, 12 artists and then all
Right.
different renderings and ideas and thoughts that we could have then kind of processed through as
And-
well. So it's a little
And even
different.
for a master plan, you may only get 3 or 4 proposals back because this is not one of those areas where there's a lot of, it's not like an engineering project where there's, thousands of cities throughout the country that are trying to build a bridge. This is not one of, this is a very specific type of area. And most of the people who make their money in this area are either artists or, if they are connected with a museum as a curator or connected with a museum as an art director, that's where they're making their primary living. So, this is a more specialized field that you're looking for.
Thank you, Stuart. Karen?
So curiosity here. So we had very generous feedback from Belmont San Diego. Could we reach out to them and ask them, have you ever put out an RFP like we did? And if so, what was your response? And if they haven't, did they do anything similar? I mean, the curiosity killed the cat part of this is like, I've got to know why this is not working. It's okay to say this is not working, but why isn't it working? Is it something we fundamentally failed at? And we fail our way to the top. I'm not afraid of any of us making mistakes and getting it wrong and trying again. But why didn't it work? Look at where you said you put that information out, Stuart. We went everywhere. Was it the wrong approach altogether? Can we go back and ask those cities who were really generous with their information, what do you think?
Right. No,
Why
that
do
makes
you think
sense.
we didn't get any responses? Because, is it timing because of time of the year? We're just coming out of COVID. They hate us. They love us. Who knows? I want to know that answer.
I think Belmont, I think what would be better is if we reach out to San Diego, maybe if we reach out to Reno and maybe some of the bigger cities. Because I think when we were talking with Belmont, I don't think they've really done very much with their public art master plan yet. So I don't know if they've actually gone out and tried to find something other than an artist at the moment. But a city like Reno may have done something like this. A city like San Diego may have done something like this. We can go look at the San Francisco Art Council and ask them what, if they've done something like this. Because we remember we pulled the basic of this RFP from San Francisco.
Right. I mean, does it make sense what I just said, you guys?
I mean, it would be good it would be a good learning experience for, for
Yeah,
us as
because
well.
I'm like, okay, I'm really confused.
Well, I
Um,
think part of it is, as they said earlier, it's hard to find a consultant for one job. That means they're piecemealing their entire life or their entire career, as opposed to if you had, well, this is how I'm thinking about it all of a sudden, as
Okay.
opposed to if you had a master plan, then someone who wants to also help lead that way and curate the oversight of that. They're saying, well, there's more down the line and it's a clearer understanding of what I'm going to do. And you also have clearer understandings of which artist or which types of artists would be interested in different things.
Okay, Lisa, just 1 second. I just want to make one comment, and I do kind of recall asking that question, and I think it was the city of Belmont, not 100% sure. I might have it in my notes. If they hired a consultant to do their projects, and I believe the answer was no, that they just had, I believe they had their master plan. I think it was Belmont. That seemed to make the most sense to ask because that's somebody who's done it most recently. I believe it was San Diego, which was a great interview, but that was done so long ago, and the person that we interviewed wasn't around at the time.
Right.
So Belmont was done in 2020. And I could look up my notes, but I believe that the person said that they had just had their master plan, and then they used that to do the various projects. As I recall, I don't know if others recall that.
That's
And
correct.
Lisa, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, my question
com-
is I just remember what really stuck in my mind was Salinas. That they just did a lot of public outreach to come to their art general plan, and whoever did that did an incredible job. I just remember that as being really important. They had buses of people going to sites, and they really did great outreach to come to a really holistic plan. I just love those people. I don't know if it was a really old plan or whatever, but I would reach out to them too.
Okay.
Okay, Beth, I haven't heard from you. Do you have any comments to make?
Thanks. No, I'm just really happy to see the way the group is sort of coming to the direction of returning to the general plan. That's what I have believed all along, and I'm very excited to see that happening. And I do fully trust that if we take the time to lay that groundwork, that all of that will inform our future projects, small and large. And that I think if we do find that way of working together, and really sort of work through the steps of what it takes to put together these kinds of public art projects and put that down in the master plan, that will provide us with a map that may make it possible to not have to have consultants for every project. So I think it's really worth the investment. So I'm very pleased to hear the direction of the thinking in the group at the moment.
Thank you, Beth. Camille, I can't see you. So, oh, Tom, I'll call you in a second. Is there something else, any other comments you'd like to make, Camille?
No, not at all. I'm fine with where we're moving towards this. Thank you.
Okay, and Tom, I saw a hand.
I don't know if anyone else got the email from South City, had a community meeting in regards to the master plan they're building. It was on 11/29, a couple days ago. And I wonder if anyone knows anybody over there, maybe we can find out the success of that meeting and what they're doing, kind of sniff out what they're doing, because they're literally, I mean, I'm in South City right now.
Is it their city master plan or their art master plan? Do you know?
It's the art master plan. And it's the same group that we have, but South City. It was a friend of mine, Liz Larson, sent me the email because she knows that I'm passionate about this work we're doing today.
Wow, great.
I'm sure Noreen knows the people who are working on that, so.
I spoke with the Park and Rec director from South City today. So I
Okay.
will
well,
get more
maybe-
information and report back.
Maybe we can send the spy part to see how the project goes.
Yeah, maybe we could just
there.
sit in on a meeting, and report back.
I think that'd be fantastic. Okay,
You know,
so,
South City are really, really forthcoming with sharing information with us anyway.
Mhm.
So I think all we have to do is say, can we have your info? And they'll give it to us. I'm
And
pretty sure.
how much did you pay?
what's the budget? Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
it's
All
a nice,
right.
it's a nice, a nice coincidence when we're talking about, we've run into roadblocks, but there's other things going on too that are nice coincidences.
Okay, so
I just
before we.
want to, can I just tell everybody in my notes, just so we know, Belmont paid 25,000 years ago for their master plan. This is my notes.
But then she said if you wanted additional outreach, she would definitely budget for a little bit more.
And that's what, yes, and my note under that is, but we did not take any outreach. Absolutely.
I think hers was 2020. I think that's the newest one. And it's in our region.
Yeah,
So that,
The note below it is that we would definitely consider upping the budget if there was more involvement of community.
absolutely. I think that's the key is community involvement. So, All right, any other committee comments?
I have a
Madison?
question, just about scheduling. So I was thinking that next week we would be using our time to, interview candidates. That's not gonna happen. So do we still need to have a meeting next week, or are we going to use that time? Do you think staff has enough time in that span to like look at for us to have RFP examples for other public art master plans, or do we need to look at that?
I think staff would need more time. I mean, we've got a council meeting coming up on this Thursday night that we're preparing for. We've got another council meeting coming up on the 15th that we're preparing for, and the one on the 15th has got a water and sewer rate increase as part of it. So, I mean, I will be working on preparing those kinds for those two meetings over the next week. I'm sorry.
So is it safe to say that then there's no need for the 12th?
I would think that would be it would be safe to say that.
Okay.
Can we also decide that at our next meeting, when we do schedule this at this point in time, that we begin to look at something that's standard? In other words, it's going to be on the calendar, so we don't have to go through these, who's not there, just do it. And if you're there, you're there. If you can't, you can't.
I think we had talked about that last time. I think we were talking about, like, I thought the third Monday of the month was what I had thought we had talked about, but then what happened was we needed to move quicker on trying to get this resolved. So that's why we tried to put 2 more meetings on. And then the third Monday of the month would be the 19th, and you're into the holiday period. So I think I think everybody agreed that the third Monday of the month was the right meeting time, if I remember correctly.
Thank you.
I mean, Angel, you might correct me if my memory is faulty.
No, I do recall that as well, but yeah, the 19th is into the holidays, and then January 16th is a day off. It's Martin Luther King. So I mean, we could go for third Mondays.
Same with the
after-
20th is President's Day. I don't know if we get that off, but that's what
Oh,
it says.
yeah.
Is it?
February is that also.
Okay,
Maybe
so
we
you won't
should
be,
try-
at this rate, we won't be meeting until March or May, March, April, May.
Maybe
I
we try
mean,
the
maybe-
second Monday, although I don't
Yeah.
want to be the same week that Noreen has Park and Rec. That's the second Wednesday, so first, we could do the first Mondays.
Other
As
than
a-
that's hard in January.
Well, yeah.
So we might just have to be a little bit flexible for the first few months, and then we can get it back on track for maybe the third Monday.
So, okay, are we trying to come up with the date now, or we're just saying it's going to be not until February? What?
But
Wait,
I
do we
think,
need to take public comment on, do we need to take, before we move fully,
Mm.
do we need to take public?
Well, we're
comment?
not there. Yeah, we're still on item A, so we have not
Right.
gone to public comment.
right,
But-
and I think what staff will do is poll the committee to find a meeting in January that will work.
Mhm.
And
And
probably,
February.
and then February as well, and then in March, we'll go back to the third Monday of
Perfect.
the month.
Thank you.
Yeah,
One other comment, I did pull my file on the questionnaire for Belmont. I did have, another note I did make is that particular consultant was Barbara Goldstein and Associates for Belmont. And she, for 25,000, it was 1 in-person presentation at the library and a survey and a website outreach. So definitely, I think we were saying we probably would want definitely a larger budget, because that's what 25,000 bought. So there's more community involvement than just one outreach.
What I would recommend is that the committee determine what type of outreach they would want, and then let somebody propose on what it will cost them to do that, as opposed to
Okay.
putting a budget out there.
Right,
Because if you put a budget
perfect.
too low, people won't bid on it. And if you put a budget that's very high, it'll be met. But if you say, here's what we anticipate receiving from you, tell us what it's going to cost us, then you can make a determination who the best person is, and then staff can work with the person to get to a reasonable dollar amount based on what everybody else has proposed as well.
Great idea. And I think information on right now with South City what are they paying, who are they paying, and what
Right.
are they getting for that?
And what are
So
they
we
getting
at
for it?
least-
Yes, absolutely.
So we at least know what, that's a benchmark, we could go from there, so. Okay, so at this point, then, it sounds like we're just going to move on. Are there any more comments on item A on presentations and discussion items? Any more comments on that? Okay, so I guess Stuart will just write a letter to the applicant. to s-
I will contact them tomorrow, let them know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, I don't think an action is required, right? On this,
Nope.
no action item. All right, I'll move on to public comment. Are there any public comments?
I haven't received any in my email. Looks like we have a guest, but maybe they don't have a comment. Yeah, no email. Okay. I don't see
Okay,
a raised hand.
okay, so at this item, at this time, we'll move on to whenever the next meeting you'll poll us and we'll come up with the schedule, correct?
Could we potentially just propose the second Monday of January, February, and that way it's on everyone's calendar, and then if that's okay with Maureen, I know that is the same as a Park and Rec week. Oh, as well as our two commissioners, that we would actually put it out for 2 nights in a row for you. Well, we usually start at 4:30, it's not too late.
What about the 4th? What about the 4th Wednesday?
Well, we could do the 4th Monday, you mean, 4th Monday?
I mean, 4th Monday, sorry.
Okay, let me know.
What's that date, please?
It
23rd?
would be the 23rd of January and the 27th of February. And then we could move to, in March, we could start moving to the 3rd Monday.
That works for me. Just let me know.
Either of those dates are fine, the 23rd or the 27th.
It'd be both. It'd be January
Okay, Should we-
23rd and February 27th. And then I'll start sending calendar invites for March, the third Monday of every month after that, which I know that Caroline Chung will be very happy to. So it gets easier into the blast and the Star newsletter. So hopefully we'll get more people coming and commenting. So that would be great.
okay, so January 23rd and February 27th, is that what we said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will put it in my calendar. Thank you. 4:30.
Yep.
Thank you.
They always start at 4:30, and I'll start sending the calendar invites as well to everybody.
Okay. All right, well, I guess at this time we'll adjourn until January 23rd. Is that correct? Yes?
Sounds great.
Great.
Do we
Thank
have a
you,
motion?
everyone.
We have a
So,
motion? We need a motion?
I move
motion.
that we close the meeting for today.
Second? Second?
Second.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you. Happy
holidays.
holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.